Introducing, yo, bump that ninja's name. I don't know what happened. It's like the audio cut halfway through the video in my last video. This is the Solomon Project, where it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep that counts. I'm your host, Richard Burns. Maybe that's why the audio cut off halfway through as I was going through a way station. I saw a couple of comments. One of the comments was actually a question from the professor asking about the importance, or what it is that, or what purpose does a way station serve? Let me explain. Way stations serve as a means by which regulations are regulated in the trucking industry. There are regulations, there are laws, there are things that are expected of truckers, of their equipment, and these things can be checked out at the way stations. Let's start with the obvious, which is a weight. So when a truck is going through a way station, they want to make sure, the DOT wants to make sure that you don't exceed a certain amount of weight on the equipment, because stuff can happen the heavier the equipment is. Some pressure can be put on parts of the equipment that will cause it to fail. And you don't want trucks failing on the highway while they're driving at 60 to 70 miles per hour. So when a truck goes through a way station, the DOT officers, the state troopers can make that determination according to guidelines that were created. And you can go off into your conspiracy theories as to why they do that, but I wouldn't doubt that maybe there's some engineers involved that come up with the restrictions that they make for the equipment. They also have regulations with regards to the condition of the driver. Is the driver under the influence of something while he's driving this heavy equipment? Is he drowsy because he's taking something for his allergies? Is he drowsy because he hadn't taken his medication as needed, when needed? Could he potentially pass out while he's driving? What kind of cargo does the truck driver have? Is there anything illegal inside the trailer? Is it a refrigerated trailer? Is it a box truck, what we call it, or a dry van rather? What we call a dry van, that's a trailer without any refrigeration. A flatbed would be obvious. You should be able to see unless it's been covered with tarp. So what about the weight? Do you have the proper equipment for, let's say, something that is classified as overweight? Do you have the proper equipment for something that is oversized? When you go through a weigh station, a DOT officer or a state trooper can inspect your equipment. You go on the scale, they make sure that the weight is distributed properly. But if there are other things that they want to check out, they'll ask you to park, and the officer will come out and check out your equipment. I'm talking about your truck, okay? Yeah. They check out your equipment. They make sure whatever it is that's fastened on to the trailer to secure the load securement. They want to make sure that it's secured properly. If you got a flatbed, a step deck, a lowboy, they want to make sure that the chains are on properly, the straps are on properly. Sometimes if you have a reefer trailer or a dry van, they may ask you to break the seal, open the door to check to make sure that the load is secured, that you have a strap on to brace the load properly. They may want to check your license, the registration and insurance for the truck. So there are a number of things that they'll do at the weigh station. And on the other half of that video that I had, I was talking about the complications associated with these two alpha males in government, actually three. Donald Trump with Elon hanging around too much at Mar-a-Lago, making Donald Trump a little uncomfortable. And then Donald Trump appoints two alpha males to one government agency. Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk have both been made administrators of one. So they're co-administrators to one agency, which is very strange. But once again, you got two alpha males in very close proximity of each other. Be interesting how that turns out. I was also talking about the fact that even though Elon put out a lot of money toward Trump's campaign, I always questioned that relationship. I know sometimes business is business, and all three, Vivek, Elon, and Trump, all three are transactional individuals, so I can see all three of them putting everything aside for the love of money and power. So Elon putting out all that money that he did for Trump's campaign, even though Trump made it very clear he don't care about no Green Deal, he don't care about no renewable energy, none of that. In fact, he did mention recently that anything associated with a Green Deal, he's cutting that out. And that's a substantial amount of money that Elon was getting for that. Not only that, those tariffs across the board that Trump wants to lay down on Chinese goods, Elon's Teslas are in that mix. Granted, he's not going to get hit with as big a tariff as other Chinese goods, but he's still getting hit at a bad time because Tesla sales have been down quarter after quarter for the past year. And it ain't looking good in the near future for Tesla. In China, for example, the manufacturing of Chinese electric vehicles is being financially buttressed by the Chinese government in ways that Elon don't get with this government. So Elon can claim that there's an unfair advantage because of that these Chinese electric vehicle companies have. And then you got the question of, now that he's been assigned to a government agency, there's the big question as to what kind of pressure the Chinese government is putting on Elon to provide sensitive information about the U.S. government. Remember, Trump is not a fan. Trump is not a fan. And Trump supporters, they don't want to hear nothing about China. And the members that he picked for the members that Trump picked for his cabinet, woo-wee. Now, the Biden administration, the Department of Justice for the Biden administration, they just got a referral to really check into Elon's background carefully, because as a government agent for that, whatever department that is, he may be granted clearance, and the Department of Justice might not allow for him to get clearance because of his because of Elon's relationship with Putin and with Xi Jinping. So this is all going to be very interesting. I don't know how these people that Trump selected, how they're going to engage with Elon. I don't know if you remember from the first administration that Trump had, those people that he picked were cutthroat. They were cutting each other's throat big time. So I don't know, are they setting up Elon to fail? I forget. I think it was Boeing. I think Boeing or some member of the board of Boeing had brought up something about SpaceX. I had mentioned this before, but maybe it is Boeing that's trying to get the contract for space, because truth be told, SpaceX hasn't really done anything. A lot of money been poured into SpaceX, but it hasn't really achieved anything. This might be Boeing's way to make up for all the crazy stuff that's been going on with them lately. I don't know. Hopefully the audio will stay throughout this whole thing. Audio. Okay. So let's try this again. Stay fresh. Keep it profitable. Kitty, sorry to bother you, but can you come on back and grab these people? Thank you.
istemedi kimseden fayda. İşler